Hey BFFs, I want to personally invite you to BeFreeInnerCircle.com, your community for real sisterhood where women are showing up and doing the work. Whether you're still trying to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, or you need accountability to keep pushing forward to reach your goals, the Be Free Inner Circle is the community for you. You can expect curated content that will support you on becoming the best version of yourself, live office hours and Q&A sessions where we chat about things like overcoming self-doubt, building your confidence, practicing self-care without guilt, and so much more. Virtual live events from book clubs and workshops with guest speakers, and a supportive and active community of women that will encourage you, hold you accountable, cheer you on, and give you honest feedback and advice. It's the perfect place to be for women who are ready to show up, flourish, and be free. Join today at BeFreeInnerCircle.com. Hey, welcome back to the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, where I'm going to inspire and motivate you to show up for yourself. So this week, I am introducing a new series called Chasing Free. It's where I will interview women who are living in purpose, pursuing her dreams, and unapologetically showing up for herself. She can be an entrepreneur in corporate America, a blogger, a mother, a partner, an artist, a hairstylist, seriously, you name it. She's simply a woman who is committed to becoming the best version of herself, and she's doing the work in order to be free. She's seriously doing the darn thing. Now, she's not perfect. She has flaws, but she's committed to her journey and willing to share her experience to inspire others. Today, I am interviewing Nikki Porcher, founder of Buy From a Black Woman. And if you see a Buy Black Woman business owner, you can bet Nikki Porcher is somewhere cheering her on. In 2016, Buy From a Black Woman, an organization whose mission is to spread awareness while lending support to Black women business owners, was founded when Porcher asked the universe for instructions on how she should use her gifts and talents to help empower her community. An Air Force veteran, former public school teacher with an extensive history of working with and for nonprofits, she uses these skills along with her wealth of knowledge and experiences to support and provide tools and resources for Black women. Porcher is a member of the Atlanta NAACP chapter, the Women's Chamber of Commerce, and an active advocate for a number of other causes. She lives on her vision with community-based classes, online workshops, webinars, and serves as a mentor. Nikki Porcher has an academic background in business, marketing, and advertising design. Porcher also has a certification in nonprofit management, yoga, and meditation. She does all of this community work that comes so easy to her with a quintessential Jersey girl flair. So welcome, Nikki, to the Girl Be Free podcast.
Thank you so much. Oh
my pleasure. I'm like, let me just read through all of this so that it flows. So hopefully I didn't mess up anything, but I'm so glad and excited to have you on the podcast. And I know this is going to be a really great conversation. So,
keep it up.
Yay. So let's get right into it. So I know you said your company started in 2016. What inspired you to pursue your dreams and begin creating the life you want?
So I have a nonprofit background. And at the time, I was working at a nonprofit. I just felt unfulfilled. I was like, how can I be working for a cause that does not relate to me? I didn't feel like the organization was doing what they were supposed to be doing with the cause. So literally, I was just going to work. I'm like, I have these gifts. I have these talents. What am I supposed to be doing with this? Like, what is my purpose? Why am I put on this earth? So I was playing around with that question. You know, when you go through that enlightenment stage of your life, you're like just searching, you're asking, you're searching, you're reading books, you're going to events, you're just trying to figure it out. So I'm just searching. I went to this event, and I always tell this story. People always look at me like I'm crazy when I tell it. So I went to this event in Atlanta, and I was the only Black woman there. I was the only Black person there, but I was definitely like the only Black woman there. And there's all these Caucasian women, white women just selling all these homemade maker mark type things. And there was this one lady, and she was selling chapstick. And she was selling for $20, and she was sold out. And I was like, right.
I'm like, wait, what kind of chapstick?
Right, exactly. I asked her that. I said, what does this chapstick do? Like, because at the time, like, I wasn't married or anything. I'm still not. But I was like, is it going to give me a husband? Like, what does this chapstick do for my lips that you have not? I was like, oh, it's just good, blah, blah, blah. So I went home, and I'm like, I know there are Black women who are doing this. And I know, like, if people were actually pouring into Black women business owners the way that people were pouring into these women at this day, like literally just buying $20 chapstick and not questioning it, and like where they can sold out, our communities would strive to be so much better. So I was like, okay, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? So I went home, I just started putting a plan together. Like, how can I go ahead and spread awareness about Black women business owners? How can I help spread the word? How can I get people to buy from Black women? And that's how Buy from a Black Woman really was birthed, all off of Chapstick. So
and I love that. And I don't think that there is like, I love the work that you're doing, obviously, but I think that there needs to be more, because you do see these white women, like in other cultures or whatever, selling all of this stuff. And it's like, why aren't we getting the same exposure? And like you, I've been in spaces where it was just me in the room, and I'm like, where is everyone else? Or why don't we know about certain things that's going to help us progress? So I love how you saw a need and you literally got to moving like right away.
Yeah.
So let me ask. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I still couldn't tell you, like, to this day, like, how I found out about the event. Like, I went back to the space and like, hey, there was an event here, just for historical reasons. Like, oh, this was the name of the event. And like, I went and I talked to people, like, there was an event here. It was like in December. They're like, we had no idea what you're talking about. Right. So I'm like, I know I didn't dream this up. Right.
Yeah.
So, but it's just like, when you ask for what you're supposed to be doing and you take time to be still and listen, right? That's the important part. Like, actually, like, listening to instructions or whatever it is that you believe that you're asking. Amazing things can happen.
I agree. And I know that feeling oh so well. And I talk about it on the podcast all the time, is when you feel unfulfilled and when you feel like you're empty and you're not doing your calling, like it's almost like this nagging feeling, and you can't shake it until you figure out what that thing is. And then once you tap into it, it's almost like this one door will open and then another door and another door. And now you have this whole amazing community of something that didn't exist before. So I think that is phenomenal.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So how does your business align with your purpose in life?
So I knew I wanted to do something for Black women because I am a Black woman. So I was like, whatever I'm doing, it has to be for the empowerment of Black women. I wasn't sure when I started Buy from a Black Woman, I wasn't sure what it was going to be. It really started off as just a blog where I was just buying from Black women once a week, and I would just share what I bought. And it would be something like, oh, I bought popcorn, or I bought jelly beans, and they're made by Black women. So you guys should too buy from a Black woman. So at the time, I was like, all right, I'm just going to spread awareness, right? And just share. But then people were sharing what I was sharing. And then other Black women were contacting me. They were business owners, like, hey, could you blog about my business? Like, can you tell people about that? And then people were sending me money, like, hey, here's some money so you can go out and buy another thing and blog about next week because I see what you're doing, da-da-da. And my background, like, I had in my 20s, I went through some things, which also include me like collecting different degrees and certifications.
Yes, yes, I get it totally.
And also like job hopping, which, the generation before us, they get a job, they stay there for like 85 years. That's all they know. But here I was, like, every 2 years going to a new job or a new organization, which doesn't look good on paper, right? Because like, oh, you're just hopping. But at the time, I didn't know I was planting seeds in my own life leading me up to this point. So all that stuff was able to just come easily because I had already had all the experience. I had the education. I had the connections, the network, the knowledge, because I had done it already for other people. So when Buy from a Black Woman started and I saw what was going on, I said, this is why I did X, Y, and Z. This is why I had to go through X, Y, and Z. This is why I was shown X, Y, and Z, all for Buy from a Black woman. So it all led up, it all aligned. And I just say that, like, if you're going through something right now, you don't understand like why you're dealing with it or why you're going through it, or like what's the point of it, is something bigger that you asked for, and it's going to make sense one day. And it could be like 10 years from now, it could be tomorrow, but it's going to make sense one day. So once Buy from a Black Woman was shown to me, and I meditated on it, and I was like, are you sure? Like, I need another sign. Like, I need a sign for that sign. Like, is this a sign for the sign I've asked for?
Yes.
And then, like, when I finally accepted, like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, things started happening. And, like, it all just made sense, and it all clicked, and it became such an effortless thing where I cannot do anything else now. If I try to do something that goes against it, I'm going to fail. Because once you're shown your purpose and you know what you're supposed to be doing, that's all you can do.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I know that feeling also well. And there's been plenty of times when I'm like, I am over it. I quit. I don't want to do it. And it just calls you. It's like, I cannot stop. Like, it is a part of me. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, girl, I try to put this thing down before, like a couple of times. Like I have went through like a horrible breakup. I'm like, I ain't dealing with nobody. Forget Black women, forget Black men. Like, I'm just going to do me. But then Black women were emailing me and DMing me and texting me and just sending stuff. And it was just like, okay, I cannot leave it because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I have to do it.
Yes. And you filled a void of something that didn't exist before, and they're yearning for it because now you've cultivated this community. And I think that that is phenomenal. What do you enjoy most about living life on your own terms?
The power to say no. To be able to say, you know what, this doesn't align with my mission, my vision. This is not going to be a value of me or what I'm serving. So no. When you're working with somebody else or you're relying on somebody else, you can't always say no. You have to like grin and bear it. So that's one thing. Like I went to an event earlier and I was like, no, I wasn't feeling it. You know, I knew it was going to be nothing for my growth. So I left and being able to do that, you know. But like, let's say you're at a conference for work or something, you have to stay for the whole conference, even though you know, like it's not aligned with what you're supposed to be doing. You have to stay because you're on somebody else's terms. So being able to say no.
Yeah, because you have the freedom to literally do what you want, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. Like that is what, you know, being free is all about, and not being in someone else's box, doing what they want you to do, which, you know, to each his own. If that's how you have to live your life or you choose, that's totally fine. But there are many people who really just want the freedom to do what they want to do. And saying no is powerful, whether that's in your work life or your personal life, like being able to say, nope, this doesn't work for me, and being okay with that.
Yeah.
So within Buy From a Black Woman, can you, or this could be for your personal life as well, like, can you describe an aha moment that really was like, okay, I totally get this?
This, because there's a lot, right? Like I think I have like an aha moment maybe like every other day. Like that's literally how I live my life, and not to be like super sappy or like bottom of the ocean deep or anything, but like I live for those moments that remind me like you have been chosen for this, and what you're doing is helping, and it's just a humbling experience because you don't think like what you're doing will ever be reached or helped or understood by people, but then it is, and you're like, okay. I guess one I can think of is because babies watch, right? So our little Black and brown babies, they watch us. And I used to be a school teacher. This is my first year not teaching full time while doing Buy From a Black Woman. And a little girl came to school one day and she had like my button on, and I know I didn't give it to her. Right? But she had like on a Buy From a Black button. So I'm like, oh, where'd you get that from? She's like, oh, my mom, she follows this. And you know, blah, 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 my mom's a business owner, and all people buy the things my mom sells and blah, 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 blah. And I was like,
I would have been crying. Oh my gosh.
I was like, yeah, I said, well, tell your mom if she ever needs any help, I'm here. And she looked at me, right, because I'm an art teacher. So she looked at me like, okay, whatever. So then, like, she went home and then she came back. She was like, I didn't know that was you. I told my mom, and my mom was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, yeah. So that was kind of thing, because it's like you don't even know like who your message is reaching. And then when you see like she wants to do that for her mother who is doing it, and she wants to help her mom build that because her mom is showing her there's more life than just blah blah blah. You can have your own. So like when families are legacy building and they want to continue it, you're like, it's all worth it.
Oh my gosh. That is so heartwarming, because just to see a baby come into the class with your business on their shirt, I'm like, I immediately would have started crying, like, oh my goodness. And then to see the impact that you're making, not just like you said in the mom's life who has her own business, but even in her child, to want to put a button on like, hey, this is what you're going to wear and represent today. Like, that is so beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, it's very like, it's just surreal sometimes, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
It really is, because it's not on some like, it's just surreal because it's just like it was just this idea I had,
Yes,
you
I know.
know. And
Yeah.
it's like, really, like you guys out here really rocking with a girl.
Yes, because it's like this idea that you have that becomes this thing, and then people become a part of it, and you're like, wait a minute, like I was just creating this thing, not knowing that other people will gravitate towards it. I mean, I have the same experience when I see like people in other countries buying my products or whatever, or sending me messages from the podcast and saying how much I inspire, and then they're like they're in India and London, and I'm like Nairobi, like how the heck dare you even find me? But okay. And it's just
Right.
mind blowing, and you just never know. And it warms your heart, because on those moments where you feel discouraged, like I don't know if this is it anymore, and then you get these little
Mhm.
signs from God saying, nope, you keep going, because this, and I'm going to show you why you should keep going.
And they come exactly when you need them too.
Yes. Oh
Like, isn't that the
yes.
crazy part?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, wait a minute, how did you know I needed this
Yes.
right now?
Yes, like clockwork every single time. And I honestly believe that's how you know when you're in purpose and doing
Yeah.
your calling, when you get these moments where you feel discouraged or you feel like giving up, and then you get these signs from God or universe or what have you to keep going. It's like, okay, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. It's not supposed
Yeah.
to be easy, but I'm gonna keep going because this
Yeah.
person is counting on me. So yeah.
Yeah. If strangers start counting on you, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess I got to show up, right? Yeah, totally. So what has been your biggest challenge as a business owner?
Well, money, you
Yeah,
know,
real talk. Yes.
like that's a challenge. Like, because there's so much money, you know. And one of the things I do, because I advocate for Black women business owners, like I see the lack of startup, I see the lack of capital that's being, you know, brought to us. And then when you see like other businesses that like make no sense getting funded, you're just like, well, you know, there are Black women over here doing so many
Yes.
things, and they can like use just a piece of that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So if there was more money, I would be able to do more things.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, that's
Yeah.
a challenge.
And
Yeah.
you know how even when you see like certain conferences that are happening and you don't see us on the, you know, the roster, if you will,
Right.
at all, like there needs to be something where we're all like, there's a part of us in every single space. Like, why doesn't that exist, you know? So
Yeah.
I love that you're advocating for Black women and trying to make sure that we are in these spaces. But yeah, money is hard, because if you don't have the resources to do this thing, then how are you supposed to grow? Like how? But then
Right.
the moment you close the doors, people are like, what happened? Well, you weren't supporting. You weren't there when I needed you. And so now I have no choice but to stop this thing.
Exactly.
I want
But it's
more
so
of
much
us.
money.
Yes,
It's so much
it's
money.
so
Like I
much
know there's so
more.
much money out here. So
It
it's like
is.
now it's just a chase to like go and find it and, you know, tell your story so people pour into it. Because I believe there's money everywhere.
I agree.
Like I get shown every day how much money there is. Like,
Yes.
so there's money there. It's just going out to go get it and
And
find
this
it.
is the thing too. What I am like an advocate for is collaboration. So even doing this podcast, like, and making sure that other people's messages kind of grow just from the platform that I have. And you never know, like someone like, oh, I never heard of buy from a Black woman. Let me hurry up and go on Instagram and see how I can support. That is my hope, right? That it
Yeah.
becomes this ecosystem where we're all just supporting one another.
Yeah.
So what keeps you motivated on days when you feel overwhelmed?
Black women.
Yes. Come through.
Like Black women are freaking amazing. Like I
Yes.
get why people are like, you know, stealing from Black women and stealing from Black women culture and wanting to be like I get it. You know what I mean? Because Black
Yes.
women are amazing. Like if I wasn't a Black woman, I'd probably be out here pretending to be one too.
Yeah, right.
Like Black women keep me going. Like
Mm-hmm.
just the strength, the creativity, the persistence, the
Yes.
caring, nurturing, like all that stuff that makes a Black woman motivates me. Like it motivates me.
I love that. So let me ask, like, with your upbringing, was that always instilled in you as a little girl all the way up into adulthood, where you had that passion to always support?
So I grew up a single parent. Up until the age of 12, I lived with my mother, my aunt, and my grandmother. So it was a house full of Black women.
Yes.
My grandmother, she was the first entrepreneur I knew, right? From selling cakes and making hats and sewing and canning, like any way she can make money, she did, because she grew up during the Great Depression. She had 7 kids during the 60s, by herself because my grandfather died at an early age. So, she was like a hustler before the word hustler became.
Yeah.
But with that, she also had like a caring heart. Like there were always like people in the house that weren't always, belong to us. And she would give whatever she had so you could have it. The same with my aunt, the same with my mother. So it was just like, yeah. It was just like, okay, we're going to give just to make sure you guys have it. You're not going to take advantage of us.
Right.
We have sense, but at the same time, we know that what we get is a blessing. And the more we give, the more we get to give. So you just have to keep that flowing.
Oh, I love that. That's good. That's good stuff. All right. So what's one thing that makes you stand out from your peers? So people who are in a similar space as you, what makes you stand out?
I think me or the organization.
You. Well, both. Let's say both.
Okay. One thing that makes Buy from a Black Woman stand out, I would say, from other empowerment groups is that the community really is there for each other. Like you can actually witness collaboration on social media inside the Facebook groups, inside of email listings and all that stuff. Like people are really sharing Buy from a Black woman with other Black women because they want them to grow. Like even something as simple as like an information post about packaging. Like for example, post that today, like, oh, this is how you use package. People are sharing this information with other Black women. Like, hey, have you thought about this? Hey, check this out. Hey, you can use this to grow your business. There's no competition over here. And if there is, I don't see it. It stays far away from me. This must be like a screenshot text messages. I don't,
right.
But on the surface, Black women are really there for each other to help them grow for each other. One thing I was doing, it was called Sister Social Sundays, where it was like a post like, hey, reach out to another Black woman that you don't know, tell her what you do and see if you guys can work together. And so many collaborations came out of just that one thread. Like people were doing business together, people were making products together, people were meeting up and just like bartering services together. So like I think that's one of the things that stands up for Black on Black because they know like ain't no, like we're not over here like just trying to get over on each other.
Right.
Like, to build, and we want, like when you grow, when you build and you become something, I know you're not going to leave me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're going to take me with you.
It's that sisterhood.
It is. And I think that speaks to, I guess that's maybe something that makes me stand out, because wherever I go, I'm bringing Black women with me. I'm not going by myself, and this speaks to like the event I went to last night to go speak at. The woman, she invited me, and we had met maybe like twice in person. We met at a women's event. I introduced myself. I introduced myself to everybody. And then the second time we met was at an event that I got tickets for. So I was asked to speak at this event. And instead of taking a speaker fee, I'm like, hey, can you give me like 15 tickets so I can like invite Black women to come? It was like one of those events and like the ticket was like $300, So like, can I get some tickets and I can just like bring Black women with me? Like I'm willing, because I know the prize that I'm really after for, I know what's coming is so much bigger than this one speaker. What I mean? If I can get 10 Black women in the room, and I'm gonna sacrifice like $250, but 10 Black women are coming in, they're getting that knowledge and that wealth, and they're able to build and connect and network. Those 2 women are going to remember Buy from Black women, and they're going to pour into Buy from Black women. They're going to talk about Buy from Black women, and they're going to talk about Nikki, and all that is going to be so much more than that speaker fee I was going to get for this event. So I guess that was sets me apart because I'm like, I'm not going with myself. Like, there's no way I can go by myself. Because Buy from a Black woman is not just me. And Buy from a Black woman exists if it wasn't for the community coming together and being there and being Black women business owners.
That is so powerful. And that is inspiring me to do something similar. Like how can I bring others along? And sure, I do all the work that I do, but like, how can I bring someone else along that maybe can't get in that room, but if they're with me or I ask, can they come along, like get them in that space? Because when we're in the room, then we have more opportunity to go back and share the same way that you're doing. So that is like huge. That is so huge. I love that. So what has been your biggest fear and how do you overcome your fears? And I really want to talk about this because I'm like, that's one thing that holds people back from moving forward and doing whatever that thing is the fear that prevents them from moving forward. So yeah.
So one of my biggest fears, because we all have insecurities, right?
Yes.
So like when I first started Blackful Life, like the first year, I did not tell anybody like who I was publicly. You know, like the platform was going and it was growing, but only like my close circle knew that I was doing this. In the public eye, they had no idea who the founder was. Like, I didn't post pictures of myself. I didn't talk about myself. I didn't tag myself. Like, I didn't even speak in third person about, like, myself. And they didn't even know my name, you know? It was just like, and people were like, is this really owned by a Black woman? You know?
Right, yeah. Because you got to be aware of that part. Because people take it, yeah.
But, because I had the insecurities, like, okay, if I am saying, like, who I am, are they going to, like, you know, try to find ways to discredit me? Are they going to scrutinize me? Are they going to doubt me? Do I have enough confidence in myself to go out and talk and be public and help push the, you know? So, like, I had to overcome that because people want to connect to a person, right? Yeah. Especially on social media, they want to know, well, who are you, what you do, what you look like, what you wear, you know, all that stuff. So it was just like, I don't know if I should do this. Yeah. So I had to overcome that. What helped is, again, being a school teacher and talking to teenagers every day, you know, because they will read you up and down.
I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure.
It was like, if I have confidence to stand in front of these kids every day and talk about art, knowing that they don't want to hear about art, but I'm reaching them and they're learning, I shouldn't be scared of my peers of Black women.
Yes.
Right. So just building that confidence is something I had to overcome. I still am fearful. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. Like, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know. You know, and then, like, it's not like I'm like Black. Like, I'm black. Like, I'm like,
right. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not ambiguous Black. Like, I'm not sitting here, you know. So even with that, you just like, oh man, I don't know. And like the self-doubt comes in. So like, and like I mentioned before, like, because I deal with depression, I have PTSD. So that's always like, that's an ongoing thing that I have to overcome to make sure that I'm doing the things to make that I'm centered and I have my foundation to go out into the public, because people are going to, everybody gonna have something to say about everything, right? So, but just making sure that, like, despite that, I still am doing my message and still being received.
Yes. Now let me ask, are you in therapy or have you been in therapy? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
I'm an advocate for therapy.
Me too.
Like, I think everybody should go.
Me too. And I love, and I had Dr. Joy on a few episodes ago or whatever, and she's the creator of Therapy for Black Girls. And I was having a conversation with her, like, I feel like everyone needs to be in therapy. And I'm always talking about it. And what I absolutely love in this generation that I'm noticing is that there's more conversation about therapy. Like, even my friends, like, girl, I gotta go to therapy today. Like, everyone, I feel like everyone that's close to me, for the most part, they have a therapist or they've been to therapy. And I love that conversation is being had, because now people don't necessarily have to feel bad about going. You should feel bad about not going, because you need to work through your stuff. So I love that. I love that a lot.
Yeah, because the generation before, like my mother and my grandmother, I'm like, oh, have you ever thought about going to therapy? I don't need therapy. I got Jesus. Okay.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Same thing. Yep.
I'm like, you know what? Okay, next conversation. You know? Yeah. So, but now, like, with us, it's like, we know we need to talk. Like, it's something so freeing to be able to talk about everybody in your life to a person who knows none of them.
Yep, absolutely.
Just for that simple fact alone, it's just like, okay, I can literally just, you know, vomit at the mouth about all the stuff that I'm feeling inside. And you don't know these people.
Right.
You're not going to say anything.
And you ain't going to judge me. Not at all. Absolutely. I love it. I want to encourage more people to go. I was in therapy forever, I feel like, dealing with like my mother wounds and all that jazz. And now I go on an as needed basis, but it literally changed my life. Like, I wouldn't even be sitting here today had I not went to therapy, for sure. So I'm glad that
I'm glad you went.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you're listening, you're not in therapy, please find one.
Yes.
And I know people like the cost associated with it. Like, visit your local university that might have like some type of psychology, psychologists programs. They usually have like the student teachers, they have a discount rate. So you can like actually go their practice on you while you're practicing on them. And like that's a nice way of introducing yourself to going to a therapist. So yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I didn't know that. So that's really good. So my next question is, what's one lesson that you've learned on your journey to being free?
People really don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like we so much like internalize what people are going to think about us if we do this, or how people are going to react if you do this. Like they're really dealing with their own stuff, so they really can't invest so much time in yours. So while you're sitting there scared to do whatever it is that's going to make you feel more free and more you, they're not worried about that because they're worrying about the same thing. So go ahead and do it, because you never know who you're going to aspire to do the same thing. You walk in your unapologetic life and your free life might free that person who you thought might think something negative about you to be more freer also. And I've learned that, like, case in point, my mother, right? Again, my mother grew up in the 60s, rigid household, just like, this is my job after college and I'm going to work there and retire, like all that. And she sees how free I am. And over the last 10 years, she's become more free. So she was like, if my daughter can do this, and my daughter's doing that, like, you know, like I traveled the country. I traveled to Haiti by myself. Not Haiti, but Paris. I went to Paris by myself. And she was so scared for me. She was like, I don't want you going to Paris alone, blah, 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 blah. This, that, third. But then she saw the pictures, and she saw it was safe. And then she went to Rome by herself.
Wow.
Right. And prior to this, she's like, I'm never leaving the country. I don't know other languages. Somebody's going to take me away. All that stuff. But like, you're opening the door. And it's not even like, I was worried about what she thought about me, but me not stop worrying about what she thought about me allowed her to. So people really not thinking about you like you think.
That's true. That's so true. You're so right. And how cool is that your mother sees the freedom in you, that she's choosing to be free in her own life and even traveling on her own. That is like, that's goals, right? Like that's what we want. And I'm sure like to see her daughter doing this, she's like, well, if she's doing it, I sure can do it, right?
Well, even with that, she still wasn't doing it, because she was like, she always thought I was crazy and cuckoo. That's why like our growing up was like hard.
Yeah.
She was a teen mom, so she's growing up and then trying to raise me. So like our adult relationship is a lot more better than our mother-daughter relationship when I was growing up. Like it was some trials and tribulations there.
Yeah.
But you know, as an adult, me being able to say no and me being able to say I'm an adult, you know, and like standing up to my mother, you know, I think sometimes we forget that, especially in the Black family. Like you can't, that's your mom. No, you can't talk about her like that. Right. But that's your mother, even though she's disrespectful and she's just that and third, but that's your mother. But being able to say, hey, guess what? I'm an adult.
Yep.
But we have to remember, like, our moms did the best they could because their moms before them did the best they could. Their moms before them did the best they could.
Yes.
So it was just a whole bunch of people out here doing the best they can, and nobody has a right.
Right.
You know, I forgave my mom a long time ago.
That
has really helped our relationship. I know we didn't get all on that, but like,
no, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's what I talk about in the Motherless Child Guidebook, like how our mothers are human beings and they're only acting out based on what they were taught. So if their mother was toxic and their mother was toxic, they're only repeating that behavior. And my personal belief is that they're not intentionally trying to hurt you, but they're acting out of trauma and their own unhealed wounds. So it's almost like, how can you have an expectation for them to be a certain kind of way when they didn't go through therapy? They didn't get all the healing work to be where you're at today. So I love that you share that you've forgiven your mom, and you have a better adult relationship now versus when you were a child, because that is huge. And that's everything that I talk about in my guidebook, like healing these unhealthy mother-daughter relationships, so that way you can be better, right? Because that's the goal.
That's the goal. And like, and I was able to go through all that because of therapy, right? Yes. You know, because like I'm a mother myself, so when I put in perspective, like my mom was this age when this was happening, and it was like, okay, well, when I was that age, I too was going through things. So
Yes.
now it makes sense because, you know, when you're a child, you're like, oh, that's my mom. She should have it all together. But your mom is 22. What 22-year-old has it together?
Right. None.
Especially one with like a 7-year-old child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you can have it together. In the early 90s, during the crack era, and like, you know?
Yeah.
So like going through all that and realizing all that, and then forgiving her and allowing space for her to grow and like, you know, well, okay, this wasn't you, you know what I mean? And you had blah, 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 blah. So like, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. So what are you most proud of?
Whew. The Black women community. I know I keep this.
No, but this is good. I love it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. So like, you know, just the fact that Black women are starting businesses despite ... fill in the blank of that. That Black women are showing up, that Black women are no longer being quiet.
Yes.
And that I'm able to contribute to that. Yeah, it makes me proud. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. But it's like, yeah.
I love that. So what does being free mean to you?
Being free means to me being an example for those who are watching to be free. Yeah. So like just making sure that I'm doing my best. Like this sounds kind of like, I don't want to seem like it seems like super vain or anything like that, but like I want to be remembered. Like
yes, that ain't vain. Look at me. No, I'm with you. Yes.
You know, like I want my impact on the earth to be felt. Yes. Like I know I have a purpose. I know what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm walking in it, but I want it to be so impactful that it does make an actual fulfilled impact in people's lives.
Yes, I want that same thing. I want to be remembered. And one of my favorite songs by Beyonce, who I love, is I Am Here. And you just want people to remember that you existed, that you did something great and that they were a part of it. Like, I think everybody wants that, right? And if they don't, maybe they're not verbally saying it, but everybody wants to be remembered in a positive way. And then when you can create something, and then they're connected to that, like that's pretty dope, in my opinion. So what's your favorite affirmation or quote that you live by?
Everything is working out for my good.
Yes. Now, do you have it written down or is it just something that you recite all the time?
I have it written down. There is Esther Hicks. She is a motivational speaker.
Okay.
I'm right down. I love her work. I love reading her work, but she has like YouTube videos and stuff like that. And there's literally one that's like 15 minutes long that literally says that for 15 minutes. Everything is working out for my good. Everything is working out for good. Even when I think things aren't working out for my good, everything is working out for my good. Okay. And it's like literally 15 minutes of that. And that's in my morning routine. And that's literally how I start my day.
Wait, Abraham Hicks, or is that the same? Is this the same person? Oh, yes, I know. Because I'm like, wait, I know this. This sounds like something. I gotcha. I'm going to have to look up that video. Yes. Okay.
So, but that's part of my morning routine. Like I have a morning routine of like affirmation I listen to, but that's the one just to remind me, like even when I'm stuck in traffic, even when the email doesn't go the way I want to, even when, it's all working out to my good. And then even if I can't see it right now, it's all working out to my good.
I'm going to find that video and I'm going to link it in the show notes.
I'm going to send it to you.
Yes, please do. That'll make that'll save me some time. Thank you. I appreciate that. So what is one book that you would recommend that the Girl Be Free listeners read, like that was life-changing for you?
Gosh. A life-changing book. Cause like so, you know, full transparency moment. I have an obsession with white men founders' memoirs, like reading their stories. Like, so like, cause I want to know, like, all right, how does this white man get so rich? Like, what's his secret? Like, how does he think? Cause, you know, I'm gonna use that over here. So, but I don't want a big old white man because white men.
Right. I love it.
So, A life-changing book. I'm trying to think of like what I've just read, because I'm one of those people who reads like 3 books
Yes, me too.
at the same time.
And this is such a hard question that I can't answer. So that's why I'm passing it to you.
So I would say on my spiritual enlightenment, making sure I'm centered during A Course in Miracles, right? Mm-hmm. So A Course in Miracles is like a breakdown, like spiritual practices. They pull some stuff from the Bible, but then they also pull like practical things where you can take every day. So reading that has really helped me with my thoughts and how I, react or not react to certain things. So I'll say that. And then the 4 agreements, of course, right? That's one, that you revisit often. And that was life-changing too, because when you start thinking about how you should do your best, but don't take anything personal, is one that really stands out for me, because people ain't thinking about you. Like, they're doing all that. Like, something happened in their life, and that's why they're reacting the way they are. And it's not you. And when you can remove that, so many things open up.
I agree. I just shared, because the 4 Agreements is the book that I recommend everybody read. And I just shared it on my IG feed or whatever. And that was one of the things, right. So I'm like, yes, absolutely. And that's the one that I have to kind of work on more frequently than others, is to not take things personal, because I'm a human being and I'm sensitive and my feelings get hurt. And so I have to remind myself that we're all living in our own stories. And like you said, nobody's thinking about you. You may think they are, but they are not. They have their own thing going on in their head. And so not taking things personal is something that I have to constantly remind myself. And also, you're right, you have to reread that book over and over again, because even though the agreements are so simple and practical, you got to put them to work, and you're going to have to remember them at certain times, because you're not going to always be doing them. So that's one of my favorite books too.
Yeah.
So share.
I didn't know she shared it for those listening. I had no idea.
No, it's totally fine. Yeah, and I talk about it on here for sure. I know I have, and then definitely on I do like these little videos on IG that I share, and I shared the book there. But I think everybody needs to read it and reread it and reread it again.
I agree.
So share a fun fact about yourself.
A fun fact. I'm really, really silly. Like, I break out into like dance moves. Like, my life is a musical sometimes. So like, I can just be walking around and also I'll be like, yeah, and then do like a whole like High School Musical dance wherever I'm at.
I love it.
So yeah,
that's good stuff, because that helps you enjoy life, right? And not take life so seriously.
It does. I guess that would be considered a fun fact. It's supposed to be something else.
No, you're good. That's perfect. I love it. All right. So what advice would you give to someone just starting out, whether they want to start their own business or even on their personal growth journey to being free? Like, what advice would you share?
Do not overthink it. Like, whatever it is, like, don't overthink it. Like, if you're like thinking about starting a business, or you're thinking about doing something in your business, or you're thinking about whatever it is in your personal life, like, you're thinking about it, don't overthink it and just act on it. Because the thought was planted into you, because the only person who can make that thought come real is you. Yes. So do it, right? So if it's the trip or the podcast or this new product or this website, whatever it is that you're thinking about, just start acting on it.
Oh, that's good. And then a question that's not on the list, but I want to ask, like, how do you practice self-care? Because, and I'm not talking about like the mani and petties, because, okay, great. But like the emotional, mental, spiritual part, like, how do you practice self-care in that way?
So I do journal a lot. Like, I write a lot of stuff.
We should be besties, because you're like saying all the things. Yes, totally. I love it.
I'm in the best friend market. Like,
yes. Me too. Yeah, so there we have it. We are besties for sure.
We need a handshake or something.
Yes. I love it.
But I journal a lot. So yeah, like, I literally write down stuff. And I know, like, with technology and everything, like, everything is just on your phone or your computer. But I keep like pen and paper with me, and I write stuff down. So that's one way. I read a lot. Like, I'm a self-help book junkie. It was ridiculous how many I have. That's one of the things I want to do. Like, I want to write a self-help book for Black women. But there's so many white women books that I have to read, because there's not enough Black women doing it, So there's that. Also, like, I take naps.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's a self-care. Like resting is a self-care. Like
Yes.
there's some times where I'm working, but there's sometimes when I'm working and I'm like, I want to take a nap. And I go
Mm-hmm.
and take a nap. So I
Mm-hmm.
listen to my body. Like I think that's an
Mm-hmm.
important part of self-care, like listening to your body. Because we want to push yourself for excellence so much, but you have to listen because if you don't take time to be still, something's gonna happen. It's gonna force you to be still. And I don't want that to happen again.
Right, right. Because we got work to do, right? So
Right.
much work to do. And I just saw, my coach has been saying this to me, and then I keep seeing posts about this, and now you're saying it. Like resting, right? Resting and napping. And I understand it, but sometimes my mind will not stop going. And it's like, oh, Siobhan, you can do this, and then you can do this. And it's like, no, you need to press pause and just take a moment to just be. And then whatever is supposed to happen, it will happen. And like you said, everything is working out for you, right? And so
Yeah,
I had to
everything's working
keep,
out for your good. Not
yes,
working
for
out
my
for you, it's working
good.
out for your good.
Yes.
That's the important part that you really pay attention to because
Yep.
like when you know it's working out for your good, you know you won't fail. And where it looks like
Yes.
it's a failure moment, it's a lesson. Like there's a lesson in everything. And that's why it's going
Mm.
to be good for you. Because if you go and do this and they say no and you feel like a failure, they said no because there's a better yes on the horizon.
Yes.
So
Oh, I needed that. Look, you speaking life into me. Thank you very much. So I have one more question for you. Well, before I ask this last question and share about all the things that you're doing, like, is there a directory where women can go to your website of some sort to kind of find other Black-owned women businesses?
yeah, so we have an online directory. It's called the
Okay.
Buy from Black Women Directory .org, and there's a list of all these businesses that are part of the Buy from Black Women community that are listed there. We're up to 300, so we're trying to get to 500 by the end of the year. So if you're a Black woman business owner and you want to add your business,
Yes.
shameless plug, please do.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So
So
there's
do they
that.
just go to the website and they sign up there? Okay. And I'll
There's
make sure I link to that too.
Okay. Yeah, so there's an application on the website and we my assistant, she literally checks to make sure you're a Black woman because we have some people who try to get in there. We are 100% Black woman owned. So it's not like one of those things where it's like 49% or anything like that. Like all the people who are on the directory are all owned and operated by Black women. So there's that. And then, of course, because we help build and market and grow your business, there's a bunch of education resources on our website too, where you can like go ahead and just download the free workshops, worksheets, go to our YouTube page, listen to some of the classes and all that jazz.
That's awesome. So this is a perfect lead way for you to kind of share how we can connect with you. And then any exciting news that you want to share with the listeners about what we should know about Buy From a Black Woman.
All right, so you can find us online, all things Buy From a Black Woman. That's our website, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, all that jazz is Buy From a Black Woman. And with the website, we own them all. So you own org,
Yes.
net, biz. So like you
Mm-hmm.
just start typing it in and
Yes.
your URL, your server will connect you. November is Buy From a Black Woman Awareness Month. And November 19th is official National Buy From a Black Woman Day. Yes, I stole a whole holiday. Right?
Yes, come through.
So like that's our big push where we're gonna be doing like big fundraising, but also we want people just to go out on that day and just yell "Buy From a Black Woman." Like, so if you're a Black woman business owner, we're gonna have our whole like business owner kit for you to use for social media. We would do like a whole social media takeover, so people know the importance of buying and supporting Black women business owners. Also the Black Woman Business Grant. I'm sure we're going to air this.
Yeah,
But
I'm gonna. Yeah.
Okay. So applications are open for the Buy From Black Women Business Grant. Applications close October 31st. It's a 1,500. It's a 1,500 business grant that we're giving to a Black woman business owner who is in the startup phase of her business. You'll get $1,500. You'll get a business starter pack sponsored by Square. You'll get a conversation with a copyright lawyer, and then you'll also get a one-on-one encouraging video chat with an influential Black woman business owner whose name we cannot reveal yet because we don't want people to just go and attack her.
Right. I get you. Yeah.
So those are the major things we have going on within the next couple of weeks. And then of course, we're always looking for Black women to connect with Black women business owners, and always collecting donations because we are a nonprofit. So that's what helps keep the light on, so you guys donate.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Nikki, thank you so much. This was phenomenal. I am so so excited and happy to be able to share this interview with my listeners. And I'm going to make sure that this goes out quick, so then that way they have an opportunity to take advantage of the grant and then be prepared for November 15th, Buy From Black Women Day. Hello, that is 19th. Awesome. Oh, okay, November 19th. Pardon me. I love that. I love that. So thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And until next time, girl, be free.
My name is Amber. I joined the Be Free Inner Circle because I needed to be around more supportive, motivating, strong women. What I really like about the Be Free Circle project is the amount of love and support each woman has. I like the different type of challenges we do each week, different questions that make you really think about, life and about the things that you're trying to accomplish and the goals that you have set and the amount of accountability that's in the group. And I just honestly really think it's a great group.